Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at 3 new expansions and the big box for Moonrakers, which is brought to you by IV Games. It's for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run about 60 to 120 minutes. Moonrakers is a game of shipbuilding, temporary alliances, and shrewd negotiation set in a spacefaring future. The players form a loose band of mercenaries, but while they are united in name, actual alliances are shaky as players are pitted against each other in the quest to become the new leader of the Moonrakers. So this preview is going to assume you know the base game. However, if you want more information, please do go check out the preview I did with Becca Scott and her gameplay, or one of the many informative videos from IV Games. But today we are going to be focusing on and taking a brief look at all 3 of these new expansions along with the big box. So let's find out what's new, starting with the Binding Ties expansion. As the UA consolidates power in the surrounding planet clusters, the Moonrakers have finally begun to rise above their petty conflicts and unite under one banner. In the Binding Ties expansion, players will gain additional rewards from allying with each other as they gain faction reputation with the great houses that each player will represent. Each player has a new faction reputation terminal on which they track their relationship with the various factions, gaining reputation when they complete a contract with a great house champion, or losing it if they fail. The reputation can mean the difference between completing a contract or simply failing. And it can be spent for various rewards like gaining cards or actions, but if carefully saved throughout the game, it can even mean gaining additional prestige. Next up, we have the Overload expansion. As the Moonrakers' influence and population grew, so did the opposition from the Utopian Alliance. Backed into a corner, the Moonrakers entered a new wave of technological advancement. At the center of this innovation was the creation of the IOspheres, a powerful, albeit unstable energy source that powered a new fleet of ship parts. Armed with these advancements, the Moonrakers are once again emboldened to explore, defend, and even push back into UA territories. The Overload adds new advanced action cards, contract types, and tokens called IOspheres. Overload also doubles the number of ship parts and crew in the game. Players can discover new synergies and advanced mechanics, allowing them to gain more control over their deck of cards. And finally, that brings us to the 3rd expansion, Nomad. The Moonrakers' 5 factions have continued to grow roots throughout the system, establishing defenses, trade networks, and even a loose intergovernmental organization simply called the Council. The Nomad expansion adds global events, overhauls the contract system, and adds new prototype ship parts to the game. Each turn, a new event card is revealed. These events can provide challenges, rewards, or even allow players to vote on policies that change the rules. Each Moonrakers faction operates out of their own sector and offers contracts that align with its goals. Players travel between the sectors to find contracts that fit their strengths. So each of these expansions offer unique gameplay and benefits. Binding Ties offers players and focuses on giving incentives on allying, and will help groups that didn't perhaps work together. Where Overlord's main focus is on upgrading the deck building part of the game, adding tons of power and interesting choices. And Nomad's main focus is on a deeper theme integration, which I love, and allows players to travel around the galaxy looking for contracts that fit their hand and abilities. No matter which of these expansions is going to grab you, they all offer extended and interesting gameplay. Now, there's one additional expansion though. Luminor, which is a full co-op digital expansion that should offer exciting experiences for all player counts, but its focus is really on upgrading the solo and 2-player game experience. And Luminor will be available to all players as a free add-on to the game. So that's just a brief look at all the different expansions, and they all do really bring different sorts of gameplay to the base game. And I'll give you some of the highlights, things I like best about each. Now, Binding Ties, they pulled it off. They truly do get you to work together more than you did before. And the reputation track and how you use that with the tokens, get different things, and obviously at the end of the track, getting prestige. I really like that aspect. And then overload is just like it sounds. You have an overload of cards. I like that. You have those IOspheres, which you're gonna have special action cards that use those now. But the thing I like most about this new deck that you have is the contracts, but the ones that you go head to head on. Really interesting because you're basically a race back and forth to try to pull off that contract first. I thought that was really interesting for sure. And then Nomad. Oh my gosh, this one adds so much more theme to the game. I really like that. The new ship stuff, as well as the events. Oh my gosh, these events can do all kinds of things, changing up the game. Like I said, changing up rules at time, as well as, you know, some good and bad benefits of those events. So it does do a lot to foster the game theme and bring you into that world. And to wrap all this up, or to put it in one box, we have the Titan, the big box for Moonrakers. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I love organization in games. I love all different kinds of inserts. I love that aspect of easy put away and setup. And they've done a good job with Moonrakers here. Again, this is just prototype and they're still working on fitting things, but already in this prototype version, things are fitting really, really nicely. The top tray is gonna hold all your different ships, all your different coins, tokens, as well as dice and your main boards and instruction books that came with the base game, things like that. That lifts out, and below is all the cards. You've got all the different slots for the different types of cards, as well as, you know, spots for the expansions, obviously. But the thing that's really nice is the action tray that pulls out and sets up right next to the game board. So you have that quick and easy setup. I like that aspect in games, again, so very much. They did a good job with this. Now, throughout Moonrakers, again, if you don't know the game, your main goal here is to have the most prestige and be the new leader of the Moonrakers. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here, with the exception of the base game, is in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, yes, this is a paid preview, but Moonrakers continues to be one of my favorite games, and I really like that each of these expansions really do offer a vastly different type of gameplay experience. So you really can change up how Moonrakers works for every time you play. I really like that aspect. And some of the new cards are just simply fantastic. Like the contracts, we compete against them is really interesting. I like the new theming that the events bring into the game, as well as the reputation track. Again, all those things come together to really make it a hard choice about which ones I want to play on any particular evening. But folks, really, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.